Neon is back at it again with a new horror comedy film called Hell of a Summer. Hey everyone, my name is Ryan. Welcome to Real Talk with Ryan. Thank you guys for clicking on this video. If you're new to the channel, definitely hit that subscribe button. I do all kinds of reviews on this channel, and I would love to have you join. Also, give the video a like as well, and comment below your thoughts on Hell of a Summer. Now, this film was directed by Wolfhard and Bryk. They also star in the movie as well. You have Quinn in here, and you have Hechinger. There's a few other characters as well. I don't know any of them, so I was pretty new to all these characters besides Wolfhard. I've seen him in plenty of other movies, so it's cool to see him on screen. I did see a trailer going to this film, and to me, when I saw the trailer, I was like, okay, this is going to be probably more of a comedy than a horror film, and they're going to lean very heavy into that. And that's exactly what this film actually does. I've watched a few reviews so far, and I have seen people feeling not so hot about this movie, not really liking it, not liking the fact that this film really relies on the comedy aspect. But for me, I think that's a positive here. Comedy is very subjective for a lot of people. It can really go either way, and this is definitely going to be one of those movies where if you don't like a lot of comedy and you don't like this kind of type of comedy, you're going to absolutely hate this movie. The runtime here, I think, is absolutely perfect. It's about 85 minutes, which is really perfect for this kind of movie and the story that it actually is. You have a camp counselor named Jason who is coming back to this camp, and he's not really like the most confident guy. He's kind of not really knowing what he wants to do in his life. His mom wants to push him to be a little bit better in his life, and he keeps doing this camp, and it's kind of like really throwing everything off in his life, and so he's really kind of in between. He really has trouble really socializing with these people and really getting them to actually like him. There is a lot of tropes in here that really are in horror slasher movies. First off, from a perspective of watching any kind of slasher, this film throws in right away with a bunch of characters that you've seen on screen with slashers. So you have a goth girl here, you have a gay guy, you have a jock, you have the really pretty girl, you have kind of like the tomboyish kind of girl, you have the awkward character Jason here who isn't really well liked and kind of nerdy. So you have like a lot of different characters that you would see in a horror slasher film, and it tries to cover all those kind of characters, and I actually did enjoy that about this film. You spend a lot of time with these characters, and a lot of times they're bouncing a lot of jokes off each other. The slasher portion of this film, it is in there. You have a killer going around in a mask, and they're slashing everybody kind of one by one, and it's more so leaning on the comedy aspect more than the horror, which for some that's really going to disappoint them. From a perspective of the slasher portion, though, it cuts away on a lot of the kills, so for some that's going to kind of probably break it for some people. They're probably not going to really like all that much. I'll agree on that. I think that that's kind of a negative. You kind of wish that you get a little bit more of that, but you do see some of the kills on screen, which, you know, it is nice, but you kind of wish there was a little bit more emphasis on these kills. There isn't like a lot of tension within those kills. You don't feel like you're scared in this movie. This is not one of those movies where you're going to feel scared, or if it's like Scream or, you know, other kind of slashers that you watch where it feels very tense. Like, it's not one of those kind of movies. It definitely leans more on the comedy aspect and really caring about these characters, if you care about them or not, and kind of like their trope of their character. A lot of the jokes here are very much Gen Z-like, and even the reasoning for the killer that's going around and doing what they're doing, the reason they're doing for what they're doing, it's very Gen Z-like. So you kind of have to really know that really going into this film, and even if you watch the trailer, you kind of have to know, like, and set your expectations at the door, like what this film is going to be, because I think for some, they go into this movie and they think, oh man, this is going to be a slasher, it's going to be fun, and they don't expect the fact that there's going to be a lot of comedy in this film. And for me, I really expect it to be kind of silly, kind of over the top of some of the characters, and some of the characters, they are really over the top, but they're trying to like make fun of these characters at the same time and have fun with the movie. And I can understand from the perspective of both directors here, being their first film, they're trying to have a lot of fun with it. So I understood where they were actually coming from and what they were trying to aim for, and I think this is going to be a movie that's going to be very divided. It's going to really depend on the comedy aspect. I really think that a lot of people are not going to like this movie. It's going to be kind of like last year's Tarot, where people didn't really like that movie. Watching a lot of slasher films, I really felt like I knew exactly who was actually behind these attacks, and I think that's mainly because I paid attention to the clues. you know, if you watch enough of these slasher films, you can kind of see like certain details where you're like, yeah, like I think it's going to be that person or that person. And so for me, I was kind of guessing a little bit as the film was going along. And then probably about like maybe the 45-50 minute mark, I knew who it was. They revealed it, and I was like, yes, I was right. I knew exactly what was going to happen. And I don't really think that really took away from my enjoyment of the film. But again, like, it really depends on like how much slashers you're watching, and really, you know, if you're paying attention to the movie and certain details, you can really figure that out. So it just really depends ultimately how you feel about that. If that really takes away from your enjoyment to actually guess it and it's just too simple, then maybe you might not have as much good of a time with this. But for me, it didn't affect me. The movie really reminded me of Bodies, Bodies, Bodies that came out a few years ago from A24. I didn't really like that movie initially, and after watching it a second time, I understood what the director was trying to go for. And with this movie, I kind of was expecting that, but I was hoping, like, I hope the camera work is a lot better, because Bodies, 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 that whole camera work aspect does drive me nuts. And I will say that the camera work here is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I think the movie, how it's shot, is fine, which, you know, you can sometimes fear in a movie like this where you have first-time directors. You kind of don't know what they're going to do with the camera, and I think everything really works as far as like the camera work here. I think for me, even though it does rely a lot on the comedy, I do wish that there was a little bit more focus on the slasher aspect. Even though there is a reason for what these people are actually doing, I mean, I get what they were going for. It's a Gen Z reason. It makes a lot of sense for what they're actually trying to do. If you go and you watch this movie and you see their reasoning as to what they're doing, you kind of go, okay, that makes sense for what Gen Z and kind of like their goals are. And some of them, I wouldn't say like all of them, but I think some of them kind of strive to be this at times. So I appreciated like that reasoning, and I understood with this being like a lot of Gen Z characters that that's what this film was going to go for. So there's like a lot of stupid comedy in this film, and you have to really like the characters and really understand that this movie is really hamming it up. And I completely understand somebody that would not like this movie and somebody that would enjoy this movie. I think for me, I'm a little bit in the middle, but I enjoyed myself a little bit more. Even though there was a lot more comedy, I did enjoy it for what it was. For me, I would give it a 3 out of 5. I think it's one of those movies that, yes, like it could lean more into the horror aspect, maybe have a little bit more tension and have, you know, just a little bit more with like the kills, a little bit more to add. I mean, yes, you see certain things, but then there's other things that are off screen, and it's a little bit disappointing in that aspect. But it's very simple. It's not trying to do too much. But I think for like a directorial debut, I don't think it's a bad movie. I just think it really just comes down to, can you really enjoy these characters on screen? Do you enjoy the comedy? And then if you really can't, then yeah, you're going to have a horrible time with this movie. But you have to kind of know what you're going into, watch the trailer beforehand. If you feel like you're on the fence and you don't know if you want to watch this movie, I would say definitely watch the trailer. Because if you feel by the trailer that it doesn't look like it's going to work for you, then I would say don't go watch it, because it's exactly what the trailer lines out to you. And for me, that's kind of like my expectations. And really, I think expectations, like I said, will depend how you feel about this movie and what you're really looking for and to get out of this movie overall. From the slasher vibe, like I said, it could have done a little bit more. It's not completely terrible, but it does have its moments in which it is fun. So those are my thoughts on Hell of a Summer. Let me know in the comments, what did you guys think about it? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you think it was just kind of meh? Leave any and all comments down below. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.